would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
So the US strategy when it comes to Taiwan is strategic ambiguity. I don't know if that's what she was reaching for there, but mission not accomplished.
Yeah, so people said that she stumbled for 20 seconds.
She did.
And before I watched it, I was like, it's probably an exaggeration. And then I timed it as I watched it. No, it was 20 seconds of okay, like Jesus Christ, what do you believe? Stop trying to remember things and just tell us what you believe. Look, Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball on Breaking Points had a good conversation when they played these same clips as we're playing, and then they were like, why aren't we talking about AOC for president? Why aren't we talking about Ro Khanna?
Dude, I saw that conversation. First of all, major props to Breaking Points, especially Crystal, because she's the lefty, of course, for keeping it real, right? Because you should keep it real. You should have high standards for your side, okay? You shouldn't have low standards. That's how you find yourself in a situation where your candidate loses.
No, but Sagar said the same thing. Credit to both of them.
Yeah.
Because and Sagar said, but the brother's actually leading. We have eyes and ears, right?
I know, yeah.
We can see him leading, and we can see everyone else not leading. And do you know that they leave Ro Khanna out of most of the presidential polls? Like the establishment media is unbearable. All right, keep going.
Okay, so now we're being very critical, of course, because we're being honest about how we think she did. Now, clearly, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did not think she did well because she apparently called a reporter at the New York Times to try to explain herself. So Kellen Browning is the name of the reporter, and he posts on X, AOC came to Munich to warn about the far right. Coverage focused on 2028 and verbal missteps. She gave me a call. Okay, let's stop. You got a New York Times reporter on speed dial? What's going on here, girl? What's going on here, girl? Okay. Anyway,
no, that's normal.
Is it? That's normal?
No, it is. For a person of her stature in Congress.
Okay.
Oh, trust me, they got every reporter.
I'll be fair to her. I mean, it's in her interest to do this, right? Positive PR, that's what you'd want to do. But this is not a good look for the New York Times. So you get a call from your masters and then immediately you start doing your stenography work?
No, what's interesting is that,
like, come on.
No. To me, the most interesting part of it is that if the New York Times is on your side, that means you ain't gonna do nothing, okay? The New York Times loves the status quo. That's why they're like, I don't know, maybe we leave him out of the polls or whatever, right? And they're like, AOC, oh, we're sure she's gonna do nothing. So that's what I'm worried about. Guys, I got burned on this a long time ago, back in 2008, supported Barack Obama 100% against Hillary Clinton in the primaries. And I was, the whole time like, why is the press being friendly to Obama? He seems like he's an outsider, he's a progressive, he's fighting for change, and like against the establishment Hillary Clinton, but they're being fair to him, and it was bewildering to me. And I would question it on air like, and it turns out the press knew something I didn't know. That Barack Obama was just as establishment as Hillary Clinton. So when she rushes to the New York Times and then the New York Times rushes to her defense, that's bad news.
That is bad news. So Browning writes that to Ocasio-Cortez, the discourse about her visit had missed the more important point about the risks of authoritarianism. Quote, everyone's got this story wrong. That this is about me running for president, I could give whatever about that, to be honest.
No one believes you.
No one believes you, sorry.
I mean, seriously, if I was in her position, would I think about running for president? Of course I would. You're one of the most prominent Democrats in the country. Would it cross your mind? Of course it would cross your mind.
Cenk.
So like, it's kind of fraudulent to be like, oh, president? Oh, I'd never even thought about it. Oh, I guess Oh, you're the first to suggest it to me.
I know.
Come on.
But to be fair, you'd wake up on a Tuesday and decide I'm gonna run for president.
That's probably true.
Okay.
And I don't want to do projection too much. And look, almost all of them think the same way. So that's no slight on AOC. There's good guys who also think about running for president.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with thinking about running for president. I just hate this like stupid dog and pony show where it's like, no.
Like the way they pretend that they're not.
Like,
right,
come on, we're not stupid. Okay.
But I want you to do that again.
Okay. Okay, here's more from her statement. She told The Times, the story is less about the opponents being some hypothetical primary. To me, my opponents are the network that links Orban, Trump, Milei, Bolsonaro, and all these folks. And then as far as the criticism she's received, Ocasio-Cortez argued that efforts to make clips of any 5 to 10 second thing from her remarks go viral online, especially in the conservative ecosystem, had been done to distract from the substance of what I am saying. I want to be very clear, no holds barred moving forward. The country is in a lot of trouble, and like this, I'm sorry, but this culture that we find ourselves in where the left protects the left, the right protects the right, and we just find ourselves in this endless cycle of mediocrity, it needs to end. I reject it. So no, this isn't about the conservative ecosystem. We're not conservative. And I'm telling you straight up, you need to study up on foreign policy if you're serious about running for president. And I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to say. And I'm sure she'll get very hurt by that, but this is for your own good, okay? Like seriously.
No, last two things. Guys, we have to pick the best candidate. Stop like with the and I think the great majority of Democratic voters finally have stopped with this attitude that we had to battle for 20 straight years. No, don't pick the best candidate. Pick the one that's anointed, because Democratic leadership knows so well, and CNN and New York Times knows so well.
Right.
No, they're full of crap, and the good news is, overwhelming majority of Democratic voters now know that they're full of crap. So let's vet our own candidates so we can pick the best one. Finally, the quote I promised you, the very end of the New York Times story, they say, I think she says, I think a lot about all the heartburn that the Democratic Party has sometimes had in these internal conversations. And the New York Times says, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez said, in both countries, she added, if the center left and those further on the left are unable to put their differences aside, then the whole thing goes out the window. Now, that might seem so inoffensive. Why do I care about that comment more than anything else we've covered? Because it misunderstands American politics. It's the center left, as she's calling it, which is the corporate Democrats, the establishment Democrats, are not part of the same group that we are. They're part of the uniparty. They are the guys who take money from big pharma and defense contractors, et cetera, and serve those guys. If you're trying to unite with them, you'll never get anything done. And so, we have to put our differences aside. Well, AOC, how are we gonna do that? We've been, like every time we go, okay, let's put differences aside, universal health care, the great majority of Democratic voters wanted, 80, 90% wanted. They go, no, let's put our differences aside and not do universal health care or Medicare for all or paid family leave or minimum wage or any of the things you want. How are we gonna put them aside? No, she's misunderstanding politics. If you don't defeat money in politics, you won't get a single thing passed. And you're not going to be able to defeat money in politics by working with the guys who got there through money in politics and love money in politics. Misunderstands all of politics. So it's very frustrating, and so I thought this entire performance, at the end of the day, although she had some good things, and I'm glad she's speaking out against authoritarianism, and I'm glad she went to go do that, but overall, not a good showing. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.